going back to a topic that we've addressed before, but I think it's important to keep addressing it because there's always new and interesting information coming out, and that's AI. And the use of AI, your own personal use of AI. I think AI is wonderful. The advances in technology. I mean, you look at what's going on in the world. Right now, we could find somebody who was lost, hidden, maybe under a pile of debris so high that you would think you could never find them. And yet, with an AI device that monitors heartbeat and each individual's heartbeat, that person can be found. So, think about that, how phenomenal that really is, that we could use technology for that. But most of us are using it for our own personal. We're using it for videos. We're using it to create content. Some people are writing books using it. And there's always that gray area of, is AI really you, even though it could mimic your voice, even though you're putting in the content? Or is it really just a machine and it's really not you? And that's where we're going to go today because I think that's very, very interesting points about AI, the pros and the cons, and what do we do? And a lot of people listening are entrepreneurs, and I'm sure you're using AI. So, before I introduce my guest this morning, and I'll actually let him introduce himself. I am Teresa Palmer. I've been interim host of this Own It platform, the Motivational Mondays, for about 6 months now, and appreciate everyone who listens or watches or watches the replay. And I hope that we're giving you the information that you would like. If we're not, I would really appreciate it in the comments if people would comment. Even if you're watching the replay, comment. Is this something that you want to know more about? Or would you like us to introduce other topics? Because really, we're here for you. We're here for those of you who resonate with the work that we do. And with that said, I will turn it over to Jeffrey, and he could tell you who he is and start the conversation.
Thanks, Teresa. Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Jeffrey E. Berger, and that is I'm an honorary doctorate for an advocate on mental and financial well-being and leadership and transformational life. And I am the CEO and founder of Abundance and Optimum Wellness, where I believe we all should be living a life of abundance and optimum wellness, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. And I do run my own podcast, Holistic True Wealth, where true wealth is not just about money. It's about the tools and the resources that I actually have as guests onto my podcast that share other tools and resources, allowing people to create that lifestyle to live in abundance and optimum wellness, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. And today we're going to be talking about AI.
Yep. So if you want to start the conversation here with the AI,
Sure.
What are your thoughts on it? Because I know that you've used AI for some of your video content and for some of your things.
Yes, absolutely. So, and initially, I was not a fan of AI in the beginning. It took me a little while to come on board, and just like anything else that I've done since like 2018 specifically, is that it's about stepping into your uncomfortable zone when you don't know anything about a lot of things, and getting information. And if it resonates, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it started to resonate with me. Why? Because I'm an ex-software engineer. And it took me back to the days when I was working in corporate America as a test engineer. And we didn't have the internet then. So everything was done on disks. And we would test. I was a software engineer tester. So we would test the applications like Microsoft applications or Lotus applications from that perspective. And then we transitioned into the internet. And then you were able to install and do that from the internet, these different applications and Websites were now coming out, and so it evolved into the internet, and now we're at that third level where we are in the blockchain technologies, and now more and more applications are being developed on blockchain, and AI is one of them. And I look at AI as another tool that I'm utilizing in my own business as well as my personal life, because it allows me to do research and really get out there and find stuff much faster, and to be able to pull information from all over the place. One of the benefits that I have found for me personally is that and I'll say, for example, Claude AI, because I use Claude, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Hey Gen 11 Labs. There's a gazillion of them out there, but Claude allows you to build what's called a knowledge base. And what is that? It allows you to upload your previous work, and it allows you to upload your personal profile, your personal story. So it holds a repository of all that information. And from that, it allows you to go in and ask questions or develop a post specific to something in the past, where it will go and search into that information and pull up a couple of examples that we can potentially use. That I find to be very, very beneficial, because it reduces cost on that high maintenance of doing the research and writing it out, so forth and so on. So that's one of the aspects. And then I'll just add this: as far as the video and cloning my voice. Yes, I love doing the videos. Why? Because this way I can just repurpose them. Repurpose that. For those people that don't know that, it's basically I record a video. If it's specific content that I want to repost, I can repost it. I don't have to re-record it, and I just send it up. If it's a 3-minute video or a 5-minute video, I take that file and upload it. Those are some of the benefits of doing a AI clone as well as an AI voice clone. And and this again it's relatively new, I would say, in this past year, and things are things will evolve and get better in this AI technology world. So those are a couple things there. Teresa, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I do hear what you're saying. And I'll be honest, I've seen a lot of AI videos from different people, and I could honestly say I know right away that they're AI. The pictures do not look like the people. They are too perfect. Some of them look younger than the people. Some of them don't look like the people at all. Some of them have a little resemblance. And to me, it's missing that personal touch. I understand why people do it, but to me, it's like trying to reach the masses, a marketing thing where you're trying to reach the masses, you're throwing something against the wall, and you're seeing what sticks. For me, I like the more personal approach. It's the same thing with emails. I could tell when emails are AI generated. Half of the time they don't say your name, they have it spelled wrong. It's a mass. Yeah, it's a mass
Yes.
email that's just going out. Okay, to me, I don't like that, and I won't do business with those people, because to me there's no personal touch there. And to me, if you take the time for a personal touch, it's completely different. I understand repurposing the videos, but you could keep videos in your library and you could use them on different platforms. You could use them for different things. And to me, content always has to be fresh. And I think that's one of the major barriers that people have, because with social media, they're watching the same stuff over and over again. And when people look at that, especially from the perspective of, say, entrepreneur doing business with somebody, if I see that somebody's rehashing the same stuff over and over and over again, that's not somebody that I really want to do business with, because they're going to do that in the rest of their life, and they're going to do it to me. So that's my take on it. I started a course online with a bunch of other people. We were all taking this. It
Uh,
sounded good in the beginning, but the person again started recycling videos using AI. It became impersonal, and guess what? She lost many, many subscribers, and
mm,
now is in the process of trying to make it more personal. Because the biggest
yeah,
complaint from people was, I could get this anyplace. I could just look it up. I don't need to be on this platform watching these videos, doing this stuff that has no human meaning. And
yeah,
I think we're getting, and when I say dehumanized, I mean because there's so much technology and so many things out there. I think we're getting dehumanized to begin with. And I think this just adds a layer to it because we're looking at it as something easy. And something easy doesn't always benefit us in the long run. With regard to research, I use it a lot for research. It's great. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
in the literary world, there's that gray area of number one, you can't have AI write your book for you, your draft, your proposal, anything. Because they usually, what the publishers say is it's got a certain dryness to it and a certain energy that isn't human, and they're able to pick it up right away. Sometimes they're not, because sometimes humans themselves are dry with what they write. It's lacking their energy, but there is that human component of energy, whether we believe that or not. We're energetic beings.
right,
Everything in our body is energy, and we emit that energy out. So you could tell if something is really lacking energy, it's lacking that vibrancy. And that's what I see with a lot of the personal things for AI is it's lacking that vibrancy. And that's why I have yet to use it for that,
right.
because I would rather take the time, create things, and connect personally with people. So I'll turn
Yeah.
it back over to you.
Yeah, no, I mean, you bring up some really good points, and I am coming from an engineering background, and I look at the evolution of computers, and then software, and where we are today. Uh, again, it's a tool, and I believe that yes, there are a lot of videos out there, just like mine. I mean, some of mine are you can tell that they're AI generated, um, but that technology is going to evolve where you can train it to be your own, have your own personality, if you will.
Mm.
And that's where it comes into the what's called prompt writing, being a prompt developer, if you will. So you learn the benefits of the tool, just like Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Word. In the very beginning, when they launched, it was really a simple tool, but it's evolved. Same thing with AI. As it evolves, it's going to, and that sometimes that can be a scary thing too, because what is it? What is it? What kind of information does it really have from you? Because there's so much out there, and I do want to bring up a point about dehumanizing. That could be another topic for another call. But I think that there is, and this is my opinion. It's my opinion. There's so much out there that is dehumanizing the general population in many ways, whether it comes from finances or medicine or technology, so forth and so on. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I think dehumanizing is part of a so-called a control effort. Um, so that's what I wanted to address about that dehumanizing, because it just like the yellow flag went up in the back of my head going like that. So, but I believe that with the evolution of where, think about back, for me, it's back into the 70s, into the 80s, into the 90s. And as we go decade, think of the evolution of everything. And yes, AI is going to replace people in certain aspects. When I was a software engineer, the automation was a tool where when I started, everything was manually tested, and then they brought in automation, and that replaced jobs in the tech world. And the same thing is happening here. But the same token, it is also creating positions for individuals to be AI experts in that technology, because it is a technology and it's a specialized technology to learn and to be able to generate the so-called prompts that you teach and train AI to what you want it to do.
Yeah, I agree with that, but at the same time, it is a machine. It's not going to really replace a human being because nobody could be you. You're an individual,
Right.
and there's nobody like you. Every person
Thank
is
God.
unique. Yeah. And every person is unique. So from that perspective,
Yeah.
AI isn't going to, yeah, it could kind of mimic your voice, it kind of mimics, but it's still a machine. It's got a set way of doing things.
Right.
And, that's where a lot of times it could be picked up because there's things about it that aren't humanized and never will be. And now, with you said some of your videos, they're AI generated. How do you feel about them, and how do your followers, have you gotten new people with it?
Oh,
Do people care? Do they not care? I find that interesting because as much as I think now is the greatest opportunity we have to be entrepreneurs, to really carve our own path. And in order
yeah,
to do that, we
yeah,
have to have something that people resonate exclusively with us, because there's millions of people out there doing what we're doing, trying to do what we do,
right,
competing.
right.
And how did people feel about your AI stuff? Did it bother them at all, or was it just like, oh, okay?
So I'm glad you brought this up, because I don't know if you brought this up offline in one of the chats for Own It, or if it was on another video that I didn't get on with you, but you talked about responses. To be honest with you, I get more responses with my AI generated videos and content than ever before. I've got, non AI, it was more along the lines of maybe 5 to 15 people. Now I'm getting up to 100 people, anywhere between 50 to 100 people. And many more are responding
Are
to
they engaging with you or just responding?
they're engaging. Most of it's responses, like a thumbs up, a heart, and then
Yeah, but
there will be,
that's not engagement,
no, I know, but then there are people
honestly.
who are engaging.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
I
would,
think.
you know what? I'm gonna respectfully disagree to the point of doing a heart is the first step of engaging. Then you go to the comments and put something into the comments. That's real engagement, but at least they give you a thumbs up. It takes time to give you a thumbs up or a heart
Yeah.
rather than just letting it go by. So, but it's an initial start. But I found that several who were doing those initial thumbs up and hearts in the beginning are now starting to respond and reach out with questions.
Yeah, I think it's difficult because the whole thing, regardless of what you do, revolves around resonance. And it's
Yeah,
that
yeah,
connection.
yeah,
Yeah, it's that connection human to human.
right.
For me, what I do is I do a lot of work with the heart, reconnecting people to their heart emotions. So for me, if I were to go out there and just do a bunch of AI, people would just think that, okay, she doesn't practice what she preaches, because she's always telling us to connect, giving us ways of doing it, working with us with personal transformation, but yet she doesn't have the time to make her own video. She's just going out there, putting it in AI, plugging things in, and just letting whoever wants to respond to it respond to it. So for me, it's not really a way to go, and I'm very
Mhm.
careful with it.
Yeah.
And I know in publishing, you have to be very careful with it. In fact, I belong to a community of writers, and somebody actually found their work someplace else on the internet that they had put into AI.
Oh, wow.
Word for word, they found their work. It was a draft of something,
Oh, wow.
and the person had drafted it in AI. I think maybe chat, I'm not really sure which one, but drafted it into AI and then cultivated it from there.
Mm.
And months later, she was looking through something online on a platform, and she came across where her work, that draft was actually written, and it was
Wow.
written by somebody else.
Wow.
And she's in the process now of trying to find out more about who owns it, how that could happen. And one of the things that was found out was that once you put something in AI, Chat GPT, Copilot, whatever, Claude, is it really your property? And can it be distributed? And
Hmm.
some are saying, yes, it really can be distributed. There's a lot of legal ambiguity around it.
Right.
That yes, it can, but when you find something online, I found something similar where I had put some things into AI. I was asking some questions, some things. I was doing it was more research based.
Hmm.
But what I found after that was that when I looked on social media for stuff, a lot more people seem to be taking and kind of running with the ball of what I had asked in that initial research. So I don't know if it sparked something in people, but
Yeah.
all of a sudden I started seeing posts and I started seeing things, even on Substack, that were kind of mimicking what I was asking about. And all of a sudden there seemed to be this interest in it where before I didn't see that. So I have to assume it didn't come from me because I
Right.
didn't pursue that. I went on to something else. But the fact that I saw other people taking it and doing things with it, they had to get it from someplace. And
Well,
I'm
here's the thing.
assuming,
Here's the thing is that this is all, no matter what you do on your computer, it's tracked.
yeah,
All of your keystrokes are tracked, all of the websites that you go to, all of the Google search that you do. If you go on TV and you're watching TV and you go to a commercial, or you click on a commercial, it's like, oh, well, let me look at this. Next day, it's in your Facebook
yeah,
thread. And so they're capturing all that data, and it's just going up to the data warehouses to market. And no matter what you do, you are being followed,
yeah.
and it's on your phones. It's I'm seeing more and more things about shutting off your phone so you can't. They can track you into your bedroom. That's
They could track you when your phone is off. I've got news for
yes,
you. That's how they find a lot of criminals because, people committing a crime will turn off their phone thinking that it turns off the location, but it still pings.
yeah,
So that phone, and that's what it's designed to do. That's what all this technology is designed to do. It's designed to locate you. Even if you don't want to be located,
right.
it could still locate you. So, that gets to be a little scary too sometimes that everybody's watching your moves. But at the same time, it's kind of good because if something really happens to you, there's a better chance now of either finding you or getting justice for what was done. Years ago, you
True.
could get away with things.
Yeah.
If they couldn't find footprints or they couldn't find some evidence that linked somebody. Now
Yeah.
they could go back 50, 60 years when something was committed. And I
Right.
lived in a
Right.
town, I used to live in Scotch Plains, Westfield, and there was a horrendous murder of a family that happened many years ago.
Oh wow.
And with the advances in technology and, I don't know if it's still on, America, something with America
Most
about
wanted.
finding fugitives, America's Most Wanted. They actually tracked this man down, and it was like
Wow.
30, 40 years later, and justice
Wow.
was served.
Yeah, I was
So,
just talking to Josh this morning because he showed me a case where this guy was undercover, and the end of the story is that they arrested a woman for selling her 7-month-old baby into trafficking.
yeah, yeah,
It just that's when technology is really, 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 really good
yeah,
in those
yeah. And the fact that
situations.
they
Yeah,
could find you just with your heartbeat. There's
yeah.
that's been that technology, and
And I
I
think
know that.
didn't you say, sorry to interrupt you because you talked about the heartbeat. I think you said that each of us have our own unique heartbeat, correct?
Yeah, your
It's like
heart is unique to you. The
yeah,
way your heart beats, not the rhythm itself, but that love dub, that, the atrium opening, the ventricles opening,
right, right.
closing, distributing blood throughout the body. It's got its own unique electrical signal, and
That's
that's
awesome.
how they could find somebody. And not that we get into politics, we don't do that here, but world events, if you look at that missing airman, the only
Oh,
way they
you're right.
were able to find him was through his unique heartbeat.
Oh, was that how they found him? Oh my
That's the
gosh.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
my
how they
gosh.
found him, and that technology's been used in other circumstances.
Yeah.
This was probably the best use of that technology, but it's been used, they're starting to use it in some airports, that, you can't change the way your heart beats, that
Right.
electrical signal, no matter what you do.
It's
You could
unique.
change the rhythm, but you can't change that heartbeat, and they could tell who people are by their heartbeat.
Oh my
So you
gosh.
could try to change your ID, try to change your, retina. You could, there's certain things you could do with retinal images, fingerprints, you could burn them off, but you can't do anything with your heartbeat
With the
because
heart. Yeah. Yeah.
it's uniquely you.
That's
And
amazing.
I just think that that's so fantastic that, you've got something uniquely yours that nobody really could mimic.
Right.
They can't
Which is great.
really, yeah, which is
So
really
now,
good.
oh, I gotta ask you this question then. So I have an identical twin. Would we have the same heartbeat, or
No,
so we both would? So that would be
yeah,
different. We have the same DNA, but the heartbeat has
the
unique
heartbeat would be
signature.
different. There would be subtle differences that if somebody had to track you down or your twin,
Got it.
or even if you were standing side by side and trying to confuse somebody with who am I, they would be able to track you down. There would be no hiding from it. You can't
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
your twin's heartbeat. He can't take yours. And so
Well,
isn't
good.
isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes on, and there's a lot that goes on. I think we had a good conversation because there's a lot of good about AI. There's a lot of good uses. It's so beneficial for so many people, but at the same time, I think we also have to be careful with it because I think we want to keep that human touch, and I think it's going to be harder and harder to
Yeah.
keep that human touch, but I don't think it's ever going to go away. I would
No.
highly doubt it.
No.
That, there's that humanness about us, and just look at your heartbeat. That's you being human. So I think until they could actually take your heart away from you, they're not going to be able to take the humanness away from
Yeah.
us. I think we're just going to have to work harder, work a little smarter, and really strive to be the authentic people
Mm-hmm.
that we were meant to be so
Exactly.
that other people can resonate and see that in us. And that's how we attract other people. So, those are my final words. What are your final words?
I'm going to leave it to yours because those are perfect. And as Teresa said in the beginning, reach out in the comments. If you'd like to hear another topic, please let us know. If you want to hear more about AI, then let us know that as well. We'd love to hear feedback from people who are watching the podcast and see if we're, if you're getting value out of it. That's the purpose there, is to provide the value, some tools, some, tricks of the trade, if you will. So thanks, Teresa, for hosting.
Oh, thank you so much. And again, appreciate everybody who's listening, everybody who's going to watch the replay. And please comment. If you absolutely don't like this, we need to know.
Yes.
It's important. You're not going to hurt anybody's feelings. You're just giving honest feedback, and we will take that then, and we could use it to tailor what we give here on Own It to what people want. Yeah. So feel free to comment. Thank you, everyone. And we're going out now.
I have